Welcome to Ty and Rye, the Finance Guys Market Mini Report, a short podcast that updates you on the past week's important topics and trends. Remember, this is not an offer to sell, and past performance does not guarantee future returns. Here are Ty Hansen and Ryan Robertson. Hey, welcome out, everybody. New Market Mini Report. This is Friday, June 11th. We're going to drop this on June 14th. For this week, Ty Hansen.
Second week of June. Yes, sir. Ready to roll.
You're looking spiffy this morning.
I just dressed to impress, man. That's what they say. I've got my redneck shirt on and I'm ready to roll. Let's do this.
Okay. Weird week for the market. Not weird week. Kind of a flat week for everything.
Yep.
You've got a couple reports to give us.
Flat week. Yep.
Some of the major indicators.
Last week, so the big winners this last week were the technology market sector, the NASDAQ, right? And the Russell 2000, which is small cap, right? So that's like, it's not speculative like crypto speculative, but it is definitely more of the market where it's like, hey, I want to try and get better gains. On the opposite side, the losers like the Dow Jones, right? Which is more your blue chip, kind of boring, suit and tie kind of stocks, right?
Yeah.
Also crypto, right? Crypto down about 0.5% this last week. Still kind of trending down this last little bit. So what's interesting, and this will kind of dive into my next part of this market mini real fast, is so tech obviously crushed it last year, right? And small cap actually has been killing it this year. In fact, I just was researching yesterday. Small cap's up almost 20% on the year. It's one of the stronger parts of the market.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about that is what that tells us is when people are more confident in the market, they go to that part of those areas to kind of have kind of the sexier returns. So that's what we're seeing. Now, what's interesting about that, like to unpack all of this, is so one of the big reports this last week was the consumer price index, right?
Yeah.
Every month we kind of see, okay, what happened with prices, right? What's going on with inflation, right? We talked about Inflatiogeddon last week.
Yeah.
It's so this consumer price index was at 5%, right? And people may say, okay, cool.
Seems like a big number.
Yeah, it is. But last month's came out at low fours, right? Like 4.2, 4.3. So we're talking. 0.7% bump, which
real quick, when you talk about the consumer price index, it went up 5%. That is compared to or relative to 12 months ago.
Basically, we're looking at we look at month over month and year over year averages, right?
Yeah, so it's not 5% up from the previous month.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. So, and the idea about that too is that the idea with this too is just we're going to have an overall inflation number for the entire year. But yeah, this is like, we haven't seen inflation data like that since 2000. In fact, I read an article where it was like the last time inflation percentages were this high, the cost of a barrel of oil was like $150, right? Which is really, that was crazy. We were seeing some crazy gas prices.
When are you seeing that?
That was back in 2008.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
It's been a while. Now here's the interesting thing. Okay, and we're short on time here. So the craziest thing about this is, and the reason I think that, so last month this happens. All of a sudden the market sells off 3 or 4% in a week. Like it was really freaked out with inflation. This go around, it's interesting. The market's not really even flinching, right? On average, for the most part this week, probably most people's portfolio, they're going to see a gain of about 0.5%, right? So like, cool, I made money, but yet the inflation's still scaring people.
So they're pricing in the inflation already.
I think it's already there. A and B. What's the more interesting thing about this is the 10-year Treasury is actually down 10%. So it's at 1.45%, the 10-year Treasury. So interest rate, the 10-year Treasury interest rates are actually really down. So you've kind of got that as a stabilizing factor where people are like, okay, rates aren't freaking out anymore. We still have good economic data, all that. So we're in good shape. Coming up, just a quick look into next week. And next week we'll talk a little bit more about on the real estate side of the markets, what we're seeing. But we do see some information coming out on new housing starts. and mortgage starts, right? That'll be interesting because we've actually seen those on the decline, which is interesting. Well, anyways, we'll talk about that next week. And on Thursday, we've got some Fed minutes coming out. Last quick 2-second thought. MACD. So that's a moving average. Helps us understand how averages are trending, things like that. And we've got some of our own analytical spins on that. But even though the market's flat, we're actually seeing a lot of strength growing in some of our MACD calculations. You can go look up MACD, MACD, right? Basically, that means that even though the markets are relatively flat the last couple of weeks, slightly up, there's more strength in the market. So that's it. Market Mini.
That's good to see. All right, Ty, thank you. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks for listening to Ty and Rai, the Finance Guys. This is our weekly market mini report. New episodes of this will be put out every Monday, so make sure you don't miss those. Also, the longer podcasts, more in-depth discussions, those will drop every Saturday. So subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, or follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube at Ty and Rai Podcast. That way you don't miss any new episodes. Thanks for listening, everybody. Hope you have a great week.